Right, good afternoon, class, and welcome to the next part of this week's discussion. Not that one. Apologies. Allow me to go to the slide 'cause it's kind of long. So, we will be talking now about writing parent and community letters and forms as well, consent forms. So, let's get right into that. Just a moment. There. So we'll talk about again parent and community letters and consent forms. Now, our goal for today is for us to define what parent and community letters and consent forms are, identify effective and ineffective writing practices, produce clear, concise, and audience-centered documents, and apply the five-trait rubric in writing and evaluation of these materials. Now, why do these documents matter? Now, these documents matter because schools communicate with parents and communities through these formal documents, through these letters. And these documents will ask for permission, for participation of the students, for information or cooperation. Therefore, because it is asking for permission, especially if you will be really teaching in elementary and high school where your students are still minors, then the parents must be able to understand the letter. So it has to be easy to understand, professionally written, and free from confusion. Because if you don't do this one, poorly written letters will lead to misunderstandings, sometimes refusal, or even legal or ethical problems. Now, what's a parent or community letter? Now, it's a formal written message sent by a school, by a teacher, or by an organization to parents, guardians, or community members. So, the common purposes of this letter includes to invite them to participate on something, to announce an event, to explain a school activity, to request support or cooperation, which is most likely maog din yung buhaton in your letter, and provide important instructions or reminders. And it informs and persuades while maintaining professionalism and respect. On the other hand, a consent form is a document used to ask for permission, approval, or acknowledgement before a child or participant joins an activity. So this is commonly used in field trips, in research participation, in school events, in extracurricular activities, even media and health and safety permission. So it protects both the school and the participant by documenting informed permission. Now let's look at what a good letter looks like. Now, uh, a good parent community letter should be, first of all, it has to be easy to read. Second, it has to be polite and professional in tone. It has to be organized in logical order. So, dapat masabtan siya. Next, it has to be complete in details. Remember the uh, remember the reporter's questions uh, sa five trait rubric, so it should be there. So it should be also be written for the intended audience, free from grammar and spelling errors. Of course, we know that one, and visually neat and readable. Now, a good parent or community letter should be able to answer these following questions. First, who is sending the letter? Next, who is the audience? Next is what is the purpose? Next is when and where will it happen? And lastly, what action is needed from the reader? So if ako ang parent, unsa may action nga needed from me? So that is what the information that is needed in that particular letter. Now, I'll show you as well the parts of a good community letter, and you can take a screenshot of this while I go right away to the next slide where I have an example letter right here of a parent or community letter. So first, we have the heading or school or organization name. So usually diri pwede ninyo mabutangan og logo. So in your IMA, pwede mo magbuhat-buhat og school, butangan ninyo og kanang kuan, butangan ninyo og logo, kamoy bahala, and then butangan ninyo og heading or organization or school name. And then you write the date, Then inside address or salutation. So dear parents and guardians. So that would suffice already. Next is the subject or purpose line. So tell us in a glance unsa ang letter about. So with this letter, makita na nato nga this letter is about a grade 10 educational field trip to the National Museum. So dali ra gid kaayo siya ma hibaw-an. In the first line pa lang daan, makita nila, okay, kani nga letter, this is about this. Okay? And then we have the opening paragraph, the body paragraph or paragraphs, and the closing paragraph. So, uh, you introduce the activity, what the activity is about, you give details, and then you ask for the permission din na sa closing paragraph. And then complementary close, which is kanang respectfully yours there, and then a signature block. So, a signature from you as a teacher, and then your name, and then your position, and then contact information if needed. So, butang ninyo ang inyong contact information dira para in cases where the parent or the guardian would like to contact you, ask you for further details on that particular contents of the particular letter, then you can be reached out. Okay, so that's what a good community parent or community letter looks like. Now let's look into a good consent form looks like. Now a good consent form, apologies for the typo right there, but a good consent form should be first of all short but complete. Now usually ang kaning letter ug ang consent form magkuyog man ni sila. So it has to be short but complete. First, next is it has to be easy to understand, dali ra masabtan, and it has to be specific about the activity. Unsa man na activity ang inyong gipananghiran, or what activity are you asking consent for? Now you also have to talk about you also have to be direct about the risks, the responsibilities, and the permissions that you are asking from the parent or from the guardian. Okay? Next, you also have to have visually organized with spaces for names, dates, and signatures, because sometimes maghatag mong letter din, kastang gamaya ra gyud sa space para sa pangan din ang pangan sa parent kay taas kaayo. So unsaon man na pagbutang, especially if inyo ibutang og box, murag pati kayo siya. So make sure that there is a separated space for names, dates, and signatures, and then legally and ethically careful, and it must be written in plain language. Now, it should show what the participant is being asked to join, unsa ilang apilan. Next is what the parent or the guardian is agreeing to, very basic. Next is what information must be filled in. And lastly, where to sign and the date when nila is signed. Now we have here the parts of a good consent form. A good consent form usually includes all of these items. We have, and I will show you, Just take a screenshot of that parts, and we go with this already. Now this is a sample, a consent form already. So of course you see there a heading, or organization name ninyo, and then the title of the form. You put in the title of the form in bold, and then the name of the activity and program. So the form is about what? So it is about the field trip in National Museum. Now, pwede ninyo na i-left align, but you can also center that one. That's totally fine with me. Right? Now, you also need to write the purpose of the activity. So, mura siya og subject sa katong letter. So, this educational field trip aims to enhance students' understanding of Philippine history and culture through guided museum exploration. So, kana siya mao na ang purpose of the activity. Now, you also have to put in the details of the activity. Date, time, venue, kan asa mo magkita for departure, what time mo magkita, what time mo lakaw ang bus, or what time mo lakaw inyong transportation, then you have to include that one as well. For example, here we have ang venue kay National Museum, but magkita sila sa National High School, sa skulahan. Okay? Now, permission statement, this is what the parent is agreeing to in your consent form. So I, the undersigned parent or guardian, give permission for my child, blah 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 blah, and then you write there the needed details. So first detail that we see there is the child or the participant name, the parent and guardian name, and then contact information and necessary details. So for example, emergency contact information uh, if na ay mahitabo sa student kinsa man nila i-contact. So it could be the same as the parent, that's fine. And then medical information, that's just pakapin na lang na you may include or you may not include as well. Okay? Now there should be a space for signature and the date of the parent, and then optional notes, restrictions, or reminders. So this is totally optional ra gyud ang kanang naa sa ubos. Now, how do we create a parent or community letter? First of all, we identify the purpose. Unsa may purpose sa inyong letter? Next is you identify the audience, kinsa inyong audience for that particular letter, and then you gather the accurate details, choose a formal and respectful tone, and then organize the information logically, and then draft the letter using complete sentences, and revise for clarity, conciseness, and correctness or accuracy, and then format for readability and professional appearance. So that is how you create a parent or community form. But with the parts of the form, I think kabalo naman mo unsaon siya. Same with the consent form. Consent form, you have to determine the activity that needs permission, and you have to decide what information must be included. And then here you have to use simple and direct wordings. So dili niyo complicate, avoid unnecessary explanation, and then include clear blanks for essential details. And aside sa blank, it has to be sufficient put, like enough good ang space. Okay? Then make the permission statement unambiguous. So pasabot na to ani. Sa permission statement, it has to be as clear as crystal ang kanang statement. So uh, make sure that you make that clear ang permission statement. Next is add signature lines and dates, and then review the form for completeness and accuracy. Now remember, consent form, it has to be simple enough, but it has to be complete enough as well. Simple enough for quick understanding, but complete enough for proper permission. Of course, there are things that both the parent and community letter and the consent form must have. So that means the language that they have must be precise. It has to be direct, respectful, especially this is addressed to parents. It has to be professional and objective. So avoid the vague words, avoid the long-winded explanations. Abot pa mo diri didto. Not anymore. Do not use emotional language. Do not use slang. Uh, unambiguous instructions, and avoid grammatical errors as well. So instead of saying, we kindly ask parents to maybe consider attending, which is too long, shorten it up, be direct, be precise, be simple. Parents are requested to attend. Period. That's it. Those are the language features of these documents. Now, also important here is the accessible document design for the two what do you call this for the two documents. So this if we use correct or good accessible document design, then the document will be easy to read and easy to use. And the good design features of a document, it has to have a clear title, like dako ang title. Though ang kato kong example, gipagamay ra gyud nako because of space issues. It has to have a readable font. So suggested font is 12. Next is enough spacing. There has to be enough spacing. Dili nga sobra ra pud kay ang spacing or kanang sikit ra pud kaayo uh, ang mga words. Next, always make sure that you use short paragraphs. Okay? For this. Then logical headings. Na yung mga headings ang inyong mga uh, forms if needed or ang letters if needed. And then consistent alignment. So, if nag-left align mo sa body of the letter, it has to be uh, left align all throughout. Except sa katong naa sa babaw. Kaya katong naa sa babaw, pwede ram to ninyo i-center. Now, it has to have visible margins. What I mean here by visible margins, kay ang maklaro bito ang margin sa paper. So, you not necessarily nga mag-black good ang margin, but at least naay margin ang inyong paper. Kana, that's the entire point of that. And then bold text only for emphasis. Dili mo pataka lang mo bold sa mga text. And then form fields that are easy to fill in. So again, make sure nga na enough space for the parents or the guardians to fill out the form. Now, common mistakes to avoid in these letters and consent forms. Now, sometimes na ay missing na mga purpose or sometimes missing a subject. So, Wala kabalo ang parent, mubasa pa gyud sila sa letter kung para makabalo sila unsa ang letter about. Okay? So, make sure to add that subject line or purpose. Unclear instructions, sometimes there's too much information, kun dili too much information, too little information pud inyo ihatag sa ilaha. And also we have the incorrect names, dates or venues, especially if kana mag-usab-usab ang inyong venue like that would cause issues with your parents or guardians. So make sure that that's correct. Poor formatting, there's informal tone, there's spelling and grammar errors. Uwaw kaayong na nga teacher mo dayon daghan kaayo og spelling o grammar errors sa inyong mga letter. And then there's also blank spaces without labels. Naalay line pero wala ta kabalo unsa ang line about. So unsa man ni pirmahan ni, dili ibuta ang date, what not. And unclear signature sections. Wala kabalo asa mo kumusign sa babaw, sa ubos. So there really has to have a line or an indication asa sila magbutang sa signature. Now, we go with the five-trait rubric in writing letters or forms. So, in this portion, we will be revisiting the five-trait rubric and how it will apply to our writing of letters and forms. Now, first trait here is clarity. Now, a document is clear when readers immediately understand its message. Of course, in a parent or community letter, the purpose must be easy to identify. Like, dali lang yun na to makitaan. The instructions are specific and the message is not confusing. So make sure to take note of this. Now, in the consent form, the permission statements are direct. So, klaro ra gyud siya, dili na daghan og paligoy-ligoy. Required actions are obvious, kabalo ang mga parent kung unsa ilang buhaton. And the terms are understandable. Kasabot sila nga, okay, nangayo dinig permission ang teacher nga mukuyog akong bata sa field trip. So, check these questions. Can the reader understand the document on the first read? Inigbasa nila sa una palang daan nilang basa, makasabot na ba sila? Or kinahanglan pa sila mubasa again para makasabot? Remember, these are parents, these are busy people. So, dapat masabtan nila dayon on the first read palang daan. And lastly, is the purpose stated plainly? Klaro ba ilahang pagbutang sa, or inyohang pagbutang sa purpose? Now, few examples here. First example is for an unclear purpose. So, kita ninyo dira, there's an X there and a check mark. So that's an incorrect one and a correct one. So sa incorrect one, we would like to inform you about an activity that may happen soon. Apuryaga pa. Unsaon man na nila pagabalo, unsa may mahitabo soon. So you have to be clear. So the correct one is this letter informs you that the students will join a field trip on April 10, 2026. So that is actually a good purpose. Now we also have this because ang problem ang good with unclear purpose, there's no definite information about that. And as what I've told you, ang may happen soon is too vague. Like, ano sa man mahitabo? Wala man gisulti. So that is already unclear. Now, speaking of going to number 2 now, we will be talking about unclear instructions. Instructions nga dili klaro. For example here, please submit the needed documents as early as possible. Unsa may early as possible ani? So, for you, it has to be clear, di ba? So, the correct one is submit the signed consent form before April 5, 2026 because wa man ta kabalo unsa nang needed documents. Wa man ta kabalo unsa ang early as possible aning maestraha. So, we don't know. So, might as well define it in your writing. Okay? Now, the third one is unclear permission statement. Now, this is on the consent form. Now, an incorrect one is my child can join the activity if everything is okay. If everything is okay, how do you define that everything is okay? Diba? So to correct that one, we say, I give permission for my child to participate in the school activity. And then write the date, kano sa activity, so on and so forth. So April 10, 2026. Of course, wala clear authorization. Unsa may pagkabalo ni nato nga everything is okay. 'Di ba? And it's very conditional. So, kung dili day okay, dili na day kamuhatag sa imong permission. So, a little bit confusing siya. And lastly, ambiguous details or kanang unclear details. For example, Incorrect here is the meeting will be held in one of the school rooms. Asa man nga school room? What are you expecting? Ang parent pa, ang guardian pa magtuyok-tuyok mangita sa room? 'Di ba? So, for you to be clear, you have to be specific. The meeting will be held in room 204 of the main building. Kabalo mi sa main building. Ato din mi sa room 204. So, the problem with this is that the location is not specific and the reader cannot exactly identify the exact place. So, kung maingon na kag one of the school rooms, again, mag-field trip ang mga maestra para lang maka-appeal sa meeting. Kung sila kabalo asa mahitabo ang meeting. So that is how you become clear. Now we go to the second part, which is on conciseness. Now, a concise document gives only the information that is needed. Kung unsa lay kinahanglan, maura gyud ibutang. Now, in a parent or community letter, you have to avoid repeating the same idea. So, if ihatag na nimo ang idea once, then that's it. Don't keep on repeating it. Then keep paragraph short and remove the unnecessary details. Now, in a consent form, you have to use brief statements, very short statements, avoid long explanations, include only essential information. Basically, same ra gyud sila. If tanawon gyud ninyo. Now, check the following questions. Did I say only what matters? Did I remove the extra words without losing meaning? So these are some key questions that you need to ask before you submit your output. Now, here's some examples. First example is a wordy instruction example. So for example, incorrect statement here is we would like to kindly request that you please submit the signed consent form on or before April 5, 2026 for our upcoming activity. So the ask ay sa gisulti when in fact you can just shorten it to submit the signed consent form on or before April 5, 2026. Period. That's it. Because makita na to sa incorrect statement nga very excessive kay ang pagka-polite. Like, it's not even needed. And there's also redundant phrases. Like, for example, we would likely request you that you please pagyud. Kindly request na gani mo. Please pagyud. So, very redundant phrases. So, might as well cut it off. Submit the signed consent form on or before April 5, 2026. Let's go to the second one. Redundant information. Now, the meeting will start at 3 p.m. in the afternoon. Ay, alangan, kanusa man di ang 3 p.m. in the morning? Di ba? So that's why the correct one is the meeting will start at 3 p.m. It just repeats the information which is already shown by the 3 p.m. So might as well remove the prepositional phrase in the afternoon. The third one is overly long sentences. Too long na mga sentences. Now, the incorrect here, the students will be going to the National Museum, blah, 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 blah. Dagay kay kagisulti, pwede ra mo mo i-shorten. Imo ni mo concise. Students will visit the National Museum to learn more about history, period. That's it. Because you see here, navigate for the purpose of gaining knowledge, gaining additional knowledge, which ang entire meaning ani niya can be expressed in just few words. You don't have to keep it long. Okay? Then lastly, excessive explanation in the consent form. So example here sa kanang sa statement, I am fully aware and completely understand that my child will be participating in an activity that involves going outside the school premises for educational purpose. It's just too long. There's repetitive wording, inflated ang phrasing, lako ra kayo. When in fact, you can keep it short. Like, I understand that my child will participate in an off-campus educational activity, period. So that is how you become concise. Okay? I hope that's clear enough for the first two because we will go now to the third one, which is accessible document design. Okay? So a document should be easy to navigate and fill out. Now, in letters, there has to be a proper spacing. There's clear headings, organized ang mga paragraphs, and then mabasa ang layout. Now, in forms, there should have been labeled blanks. Like, gi-label ang mga blanco asa sila mo pirma, kung unsay butangan sa pangalan, signature lines as well should be there. Visible sections as well should be there. Like, makita nimo ang mga parts sa kanan. Let's say, for example, student information, parent information, contact, emergency contact information. So, it has to be clear. All right, and then neat alignment. So check the questions. Can the reader find information quickly? Iniktan-aw nila makita ba dayon sila sa information? And is the document pleasant and simple to use? Dali ba na gamiton ang form o maglabad ang ulo sa parent, manawag na lang ninyong chatan din mo sa messenger, ma'am, mo ano maning unsa man nimo gihatag nga form, ma'am, ako kasabot. So that's not any more accessible document design. Now, let's go to our examples. Now, first example here is a very poor paragraph structure. So, and you can read there, the letter informs you, taas kaayo. When in fact, you can use and dili lang yung makit andira kay dili man mo allow ang Canva og bullets. But ang kaning naa diri kanang after sa students are required to naka-bullet na siya supposedly. So you can use the highlighting feature. So you can use bullet points, which would make the reading of the form or the document easier for your parents. Okay? So kani siya, ang kaning correct one, mas dali na hinuon siya scan. Like, in mabasa nila, dali na sila makuha sa information. Number two, unlabeled form fields, especially in consent form. So, may kag name, buta kag name dra. Ang kinsa mang name? Name sa mama, name sa papa, name sa ero, name sa igsuon, name sa estudyante, name sa presidente sa Pilipinas, wala ta kabalo kung unsa nga name. So, the correct one, you need to have parent's name, grade or section, grade and section, then parent and guardian name. Di ka mabutang lang name lang kay sa pala ibutang dira. Oh, pero na atong pag COVID ba nga butang na nila mga pangan superheroes sa kanang contact tracing. Oh, so kana make sure that you put in labeled form fields. Now, the next one is the third one, disorganized layout. Dili mao ang organized sa tanawan ninyo ang incorrect. Diba? Na date ang signature, then activity, details ug ang purpose na sa ubos. Does it even make sense? Right? So, kanang wala say logical grouping, anong nag-una man ni ang date ug signature? Oh, so make sure that you put in the proper layout. So, activity details, the purpose, and then signature and date. And lastly, we have the inconsistent alignment and spacing. Tanawan niyo ang alignment, ang date na adira, ang time na adira, ang venue na adira. The inconsistency in the alignment disrupts the readability. Maglisod mo og basa because of that. So, unsa man inyong buhaton, make sure that it's aligned. Make sure it's in one line. So, when you have this one, this would really help na dali mabasa sa inyong mga students, mabasa sa inyong mga stakeholders, sa inyong parents, sa community, ang inyong letter. So, accessible design allows you to locate, understand, and complete the information without any effort. Now, let's go to the fourth one, audience recognition. So, dapat as teachers, we need to know para kang kinsa ta musuwat sa letter. For example, if you're writing for parents or guardians, then it has to be respectful. Dili nga casual ra kaayo imong tone when you write, and it has to use simple language. Because not all of your parents in your class would be, college graduates. Sometimes na kay makatiming kag parent nga wala nakahuman og college or kutob ra og grade 3 or what not. So that means they will have a hard time reading. So might as well ayaw na palisuda. Keep it simple. Okay? Maka-recognize man sila but keep it simple. Okay? Next is avoid jargon. Ayaw na paggamit ng mga highly technical terms. Remember, you are writing for lay people, not for high-tech or low-tech people. Okay? And remember to explain school terms if necessary. So, kung kinahanglan mo gamit mo school terms, then explain unsa na nga term. Now, if it's gonna be a community use language that fits the community context, be polite and clear, and show respect for local rules and values. So, check the following questions. Kinsa man ang intended reader ani? And is the language suitable for that particular reader? Now, examples for audience recognition. We have here the first one is the use of technical language. For example, ang kanang incorrect here is students will engage in a curriculum-aligned experiential learning activity designed to enhance cognitive competencies. Purya ka ba, unsaon man pagsabot ana sa parent? But this is too technical. This is too education major students, kind of education language. So keep it keep it simple. Students will join a learning activity that helps them better understand their lessons. Period. Kana. That's the only thing that you have to do. Keep it simple. Ayaw liso-lisuran na inyong readers. Number two is inappropriate formality. Okay, this is the problem for some of the uh, teachers nga magsuwat og letter. Guardians are hereby mandated to ensure the punctual attendance of their dependents. Ah, why do you have to use that formality when in fact you can just say in simple English, parents are requested to ensure that their child arrives on time? Because this is too formal. Ang kanang incorrect one, it's too formal and sometimes it would even sound unfriendly. Like, kuya, wag yun ani, unsa ning maestra ka ng kuani, ka ng hari ni, Reyna ni. So, might as well keep it simple na lang. Okay? Especially if we're writing for parents. Next is the use of school jargon. So, example here, learners must comply to CG-based enrichment activities during the off-campus activity. Unsa man ang CG-based? Unsa man ang enrichment activities, enrichment task? Your parents, especially if they are not teachers, they would not know what that is. So try to change it. Students will complete simple learning tasks during the field trip period, and you get a good answer. Now we have example number 4, lack of cultural and context awareness. Now ang wrong here or incorrect here is participants are expected to independently manage all logistical requirements. Like, huh? Sabi ni, oy, but some way. But the correct one is students will be guided by teachers throughout the activity. So this is already what do you call this? This is already asking your parents or informing your parents na okay, guided di ini sila by the teachers. Kay kumaingon mo nga participants are expected to independently manage all logistical requirements. Ay kung ina moingon niya nga, lah, ang mga estudyante rin ay magbuot-buot ay wala day maestra. So and again, this is very highfalutin English, so might as well keep it simple. Students will be guided by teachers throughout the activity. So remember, when you write a letter or a form, you are writing for your readers, not your not for yourself, not for your fellow teachers. But again, this is for your parents, this is for your guardians. And lastly, number 5 is accuracy. Now, accuracy means all details are correct and reliable. Double check everything. Correct names, correct dates and time, correct venue, correct spelling of activity titles, correct your contact information, correct instructions and permissions. So uh, make sure that your details are accurate, because a single incorrect detail can cause confusion or make the document unusable. Okay? And I will not be giving you examples because it will depend naman on you kung unsa na mga names, unsa na mga dates ang inyong buhaton for your consent and letters, consent forms and letters, right? So that ends our session today on writing parent and community letters and consent forms. Thank you, everyone. The guidelines will follow after the uploading of this video. Thank you, everyone, and have a great day.